Calgary sellers, have you missed out? Has the market already topped up? Well, that's what we're going to talk about with our good friend Darren Langille. Here we are, my friends, and as promised, yes, that's Darren, the brand, the broker, the man we love, all the way from Calgary. And what's going on, my friend?
Oh man, it's good to be back again. I love this the cadence we've got because there's always something to talk about in this business. In real estate, like we all own it, want it, consider selling. So there's always something that I think we should just stay a little in tune to. So I really appreciate you and you taking the time to do this. So.
Excellent. Well, it's good. As I've been doing other videos and of course yours every couple of weeks, like you said, it's important to not only understand your little local market, but as we were just kind of talking off air, how the Alberta market affects Toronto and Ontario, and our market affects you, and even our elections have a dramatic impact of what's going on and everything else. But perhaps we should quickly talk about what's going on in your actual environment outside there. I know it's like top news story in Alberta, and it's making some pretty crazy headlines for just people's safety and awareness and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty unfortunate. I mean, northern Alberta right now is strung around with, last I looked, 90 plus active wildfires, and it's and they're not getting better; they're getting worse because we're in a bit of a heat dome. I don't know if you guys are feeling that there, but they call it a heat dome that's keeping like near 30-degree weather here over the weekend, which is just going to make it worse. So, I mean, there's towns that have been evacuated of thousands and there's lots. So what's happening now, I wake up in Calgary, we've been a bit sheltered from it, right? And it's just our Armageddon like haze over us with like red tinge in it. It smells like campfire, even inside of our office buildings. So that's us, and we're not even the ones close to it. The guys up north, friends and family are on standby, and lots of oil crews helping, getting water trucks out to these, things. That the good thing is we have a lot of like supplier type industries out there in the oil field that can help service and help the firefighters. So yeah, it's not a pretty situation, and it's probably going to get worse before it gets better.
Is that right? Well, of course, our thoughts and prayers, and if any which way people can give, how would they do that? Just go through some of the local government channels and charities and so forth? Think that'd be the best
I
way?
actually don't really know that. It's probably
Yeah.
through the Red Cross. I know Trudeau
Sure.
was out and he was checking it out, and he doesn't come across Alberta too often, but because he's not overly loved. So, so he had to set foot and see
Yeah.
what was going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we always do want to take care of our own. And if that's something that's important to you, as Darren said, reach out to the Red Cross. That's always the best way, or best place to start at the very least. And of course, our thoughts and prayers go to the families and people that are affected by that on all levels, Okay, my friend. So the Calgary market, this is interesting. I want to know, obviously it's been moving quick, and you've had some tremendous upticks over the last several weeks and into months. Here's my question for you. Maybe, the $1,000 to $1 million question. Have sellers missed out already on their opportunity to sell at kind of that peak, or what's your take on that?
I mean, I love the question because, I mean, in our market and for years, from like 2014, like we shared the last couple of times, all the way through to COVID, it was not great marketplace. So most of us in our familiar memory is not a fantastic market, a tough market. And we're still coming to terms with the fact that Alberta's doing really well. We're one of the boom cycles again. So sellers and even realtors who haven't been in the business long enough are saying, well, did I miss this window? Is this gone now? Because there's a disbelief, right? That it's going to be like, your run in Ontario has been strong and steady for a very, very, very long time. You guys, of course, had a blip. But for us, this recent uptick does feel like the shoe's gonna drop, the sky's gonna fall, but it's not happening, and it won't happen because it's just simple supply and demand. This is not passion fueled. This is not like stocks that just, I get emotional, let's go ride this baby out. No, this is rooted in incredible fundamentals where the inventory is rock bottom and sales are still through the roof. Net migration is still happening, interprovincial migration pushing the Calgary market up. None of this stuff changes, but I get it when a realtor's like been in the business for 3 years, or a seller says, "Hey, I want to sell," and then five other sellers call them that same day, and they're worried that they're going to flood the market. Well, we're so far from that; it's impossible. So,
I like that, and the one word you use there is tremendously key to how you and I and many others look at the market, and that's the fundamentals. And yeah, when we come to list any property, you want to know who your competition is, as well as how many of them are there, and months of inventory and days on market. That's got to be, is it moving considerably down like almost every day?
so last update, I shared that we didn't have any net gain on inventory
That's
through the
right.
month of April. Well, if I look at the data now, we ended April with 3,243 active listings. Currently today, what are we now? 16 days in. We have now added 90 total net homes. That's it. Like,
Really?
so we're up to 3,339, which is it's a 36% reduction from last year. It's a 50% reduction from the 2 years ago. So like that's the position we're in. It's not growing. It's active listings are coming on, but our sales and everything's just selling through it. And we should be way higher. Like we should be a couple thousand more homes on the market to be even in balance. So that's how far we are away from being concerned. Did I miss this uptick?
Yeah, yeah. So my friends, listen to what Darren's saying. So you're saying there's approximately about 3,000 homes listed. Was that the number that I just remembered? Yeah. And
Yeah.
you're suggesting even to get to a balanced or even talks about a balanced market, another two, so that we need 5,000 homes listed. So we're a far cry from that, from the sounds of it.
Yeah, like going into COVID, I was telling my agents today at our sales strategy meeting that January and February, right before March 20th hit, um, we felt like it was a really healthy market. And that inventory at this time of the year would have been nearly double. And we felt this is healthy. We felt, oh my God, I can get stuff done. Oh my goodness, like my home's not going to expire off the market. And it's like, wow, I can move. Because as you know, like people are selling houses because of a life transition. So if you feel like you're not confident to sell, you can't make the next life move, and that hinders the economy. That hinders everything. That hinders family. I think it's so many things that go negatively. I'm going to say 100% of the listings sell, as long as they're not just with completely far fetched pricing, right?
Yeah.
So
And there's a lot to go along with that. Like a sale of a home drives the local economy, right?
yeah,
And from everybody from, of course, when you sell a home, there's costs associated with that. And sometimes, and more often than not, those costs go to, home building supply companies and movers and lawyers and things like that. So there's more to it than just, yeah, we're going to sell a home today or this year. And that's my thought. From a
yeah.
homeowner, yes, but from an economy, or from the economy, the way we look at it, it just drives so much, right? And your contractors, everybody else that goes into that. Obviously, if the real estate market is down, the local economy therefore should be down too. So are you seeing that as well from some of your contractors that I know you'd use on your rentals and things, and people are, the business level is just not where it was.
Yeah, I mean, right now the amount of demand on the tradespeople is incredible, right?
Yeah.
The tradespeoples are winning right now, because they're picking their price. Their labor
Sure.
rates are going up. I mean, we have now finally fixed most of the construction costs. Like that has kind of normalized, as you know. But labor is through the roof because, again, not everybody over the last decade wanted to get into the labor field. And now
Yeah.
that's in massive demand and they can pick their numbers, right? So you got to be careful as a consumer on who you're picking. If they've been vetted, are they just trying to drive the price up? And you're getting hosed a little bit. So you do have to watch for that. And even me, myself, with experience, I got to question some of the quotes I'm getting back. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And people like Darren and myself who have done a tremendous amount of rentals and on our own rental properties, uh, every now and then you do got to ask, even if he's your favorite contractor, right? Or that
Uh-huh.
contracting company, you got to ask and you got to hold them accountable too. So don't be afraid to ask, my friends. Don't.
Well, I'm doing some renos on my personal house right now, so not from an investment purpose, but just for like fixing my house, protecting my house. And I got this quote for this stone repair,
Sure.
and all of a sudden the quote goes a little higher. Every change I make, it's a little more, and I'm seeing that there's more buffer added every time, to the point that I felt distrust that I went right to the supplier, got a quote on the material myself, and now I've gone back to the tradesman to say, okay, I understand how much I can buy this for. Are you telling me your labor for this is actually this number? And
Right.
now I'm quizzing him back, and maybe it sounds like I'm being a jerk, but the reality is I felt like the stretch has been happening. They're almost feeling like they're taking advantage of my emotional need for this, right? And I'm probably going to call him on his BS. So, yeah,
Yeah. And like you got to hold, well, the fact of the matter is you got to hold your own money accountable, right?
yeah,
And you can't do that just by handing it out and so forth. And that's how you operate investment properties. That's how you operate your brokerage, I'm sure, and many other of your businesses. You have to hold your money accountable. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so days on market's moving down. The level inventory is kind of just holding where it's at. Apart from just instantly adding 2,000 or 40, 50% of new or more listings, what are some of the local agents or some of those people that are thinking of selling? What action should they be taking?
so I mean, so you're talking about if a client is considering selling, what should they be
Yeah,
thinking right now?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is the heart of the selling season, right? This is where every year we're going to always do the best. But right now, because of that supply demand, just know that you're coming in really hot. Like, to give you I have another example where it was a home got listed 90,000 more than its neighbor, same home, same size, similar quality, just without a basement finished. So that value might only be 20,000. So let's say it's going to the market 70,000 more than its neighbor. Um, and it sold in a day, right?
Mhm.
And that the neighbor sold in November. So, I mean, things are moving. Things are, you have to price fair. You can't be greedy, but when you do, the market's there for you. And you'll be handsomely rewarded and happy probably with the pace. Because again, transitioning a house has a lot of moving parts, and none of us want a lot of stress. So if you can get it done quick, that's a win for you, right?
Yeah, and tell me a little bit about the buying and the selling strategy there. Are we listing homes? We'll call it at fair market value, and the buyers are taking that opportunity to put their best foot forward, and are buyers submitting offers that are, condition free in a sense, or what's that local market look like for you there?
That's a good question. Yeah, it's not quite. So there's a lot of demand. They're coming in hot. If it is fair market, you're getting the action. If it was 5, 6, 7% over market, you probably don't. You
Yeah,
probably
sure.
miss that. Like, I'm looking right now, I've got the last 7 days, 708 sales, and I just got the screen here, a list price to sale price ratio,
Mhm.
and it's uh, 1, 1,
Yep.
1.02, 1.99, 1.06, 1.06. So not like 20% bumps. Not like, you mean? So if the highest list price to sale price ratio on my entire list that I'm looking at right now is like at a 1.06, that's like 5% of the market max. If you're
Sure.
over 5% over market, you could completely miss it, right? So that's where it's like it's healthy, but it's not insane, right?
Yeah, yeah. And in layman's terms, what he's saying there is things are selling for 101%
Yeah.
of the asking price, 102%. And that's where you really need to listen and to the advice of the listing agent and the listing strategy and understanding that market information, so you're in line with what the market is expecting.
Big time. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that would go chase that aspirational pricing, and it's just like, we're not like you guys were few years ago, where that the market would just catch up to you in 30 days. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? We're healthy. We're not absurd. We're healthy in relation to strong foundation and fundamentals, which there's no real There's no data that I'm finding anywhere that shows that it's out of line with what it should be. Like it's expected to see these numbers, and we know why. It's not just pick a number, throw a dart, and hope it lands. You know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then from the other side, on the buying side, uh, are we talking about offers that are, have no conditions coming in firm, or is there still some room there
Still,
to,
yeah, still conditions. Like I
okay,
just put
that,
one into contract with a 2 week contract. It was in multiples. There's going to be backups on it likely. So yeah, I mean, put in your home inspection, put in your financing. Some of them you're going to miss out on it, but I mean, that's still what we're seeing. Yeah,
that's excellent. That's actually kind of my favorite way to, so obviously I don't want competition as a buyer.
sure.
However, you still want to be protecting your buyer in that purchase, especially with the home
Big time.
inspections and at the end of the day, the financing, and therefore that's such a great opportunity still as a buyer, because we do enter in some markets. I know in Vancouver and in some pockets here in the GTA where you've got to have zero conditions. You don't have that opportunity to protect yourself from financing, and in some cases home inspect. Well, you're not going to. You'd have to
Yeah.
do a pre-inspection or there
I can't
or
speak for all, but I'd say you're going to be most of the time you can have one in today.
yeah,
There are going to be those like you go pockets in a specific area that there's no inventory at all, so you got no competition. Well,
sure.
that one might not be the case, and that's where it just again pays to have an agent that's there, understands the localized market and not just the general one. Because so many, as you know, play on the headlines and don't take the time like you and I do to go deeper and explore that micro market within it. That'll tell the tale. You might have a fully buyer's demand section of the market because that just might be the case. And you should know that if you're coming in, right? Then you can change your strategy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's important as a seller to understand how our buyers going to show up, so that expectation is set. And when things do come in, you're, as a seller, you're not confused by, hey, I didn't expect this, or I didn't know that was going to happen. It's just as important to understand a buyer's mindset when you are the seller. So that when that, as I said, when that comes in, there's nothing kind of out of left field or right field that surprises you. But
Well, here's a funny story. My marketing guy just took a vacation, went out to Victoria. And Victoria is just, I mean, I love it. It's like the haven for real estate in Canada, I believe, because there's so much international money that parks there. He goes, Darren, here's a 293 square foot condo that just sold it for 319,000. And he said that little thing, he's like, oh my goodness, because that's still higher than Calgary's apartment average sale price.
right.
So this is a 293 square foot place. So for us, again, relative terms, we're still so affordable for so long, especially as interest rate environment stays where it is. Calgary is going to continue to look like a great place to, you know, park yourself, come out of school, get a job, build a family, because again, you have money in your pocket with these
Yeah.
prices, right?
That's such a great point. And maybe in one of our future videos, we'll talk about the job market that's available, that's attracting people to Calgary. I think obviously that's a huge component of affordability and everything else, but we should save that for another video. Darren, how do people get a hold of you?
Well, Darren, Darren at redlinerealestate.ca if they just want to shoot me an email, or just follow me on Instagram. It's where I'm most found. So just at Darren Langille, and lots of real estate stuff. I do a lot of coaching for realtors, so there's a lot of that, but you'll have to siphon through that if you're a potential buyer or seller, and shoot me a DM. We'll go from there.
Excellent. Excellent. So there you have it, my friends. Of course, that's Darren Langille, and I'm Gary McGowan. We'll see everybody on the next video. Bye for now.